Hi everyone, welcome to a special episode. If you recall, I promised I was going to show you how to process a fleece. This is fleece processing 101. 101? Whatever. This is the first part. I'm going to do it in two parts because there are two different shooting locations I have to use. One will be in the kitchen. I have to have a partner in crime home to do that because I can't camera and kitchen at the same time. However, this is the most labor intensive portion of processing a fleece that you need to know about. And we have pets. We have a bebop. Well, I've brought some treats to try and keep the pet down. Uber! Here I have a rawhide. These are golden. If you have a dog. Hours of fun. Sit. Shake. There you go. Take it. Good boy. So, fleece processing. As you recall, and see, I've gotten it spread out here. This is the half of my living room. My living room is separated into a dining room, living room, but the dining room isn't actually a dining room. We never use it. And I've got some sun coming in from over here. Here's the cat's box. It is a very happy box. As you can see, Honey's hat's on it because we're dirty. Pardon the mess. Pardon the mess. I should have let the dog out before I started this. Whatever. Boober! The rawhide. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I got it. Come here. Go get it. Anywho, we're gonna have to deal with pets. So be it. I'm used to doing this with pets, so I wouldn't be surprised. I also have my little lion grain-free totally tuna. Hold on a second. I'm gonna let him out. Okay, so welcome back. This is actually take two. The computer ate the first giant chunk that I recorded, so this is, I'm actually going to stop it every couple of minutes, or 15 to, because I think it was like 30 minutes, and the shitty thing was, I was going to press stop, because I was done. But, okay, anywho. Getting over the anger I have, we are moving into fleece processing 101. I have laid out this gorgeous plastic tablecloth. This gorgeous plastic tablecloth came from the dollar store. It cost $1. If you have carpet, I recommend doing this. If you have linoleum, you can do it on linoleum because then you can just sweep it up. However, when you're processing a fleece, you want to protect your carpet. Well, you don't want to protect your carpet. It's just, I'm lazy. I don't want to vacuum right after, and all I have to do is roll this up and chuck it out. Anywho, plastic tablecloth cost $1. Laid it out. Please ignore the spiders. I buy in bulk when the Halloween sales go on. So, for the fleece processing, I've already processed this one to a level that I want to show you, but your first step, and here's another fleece. It's just a random fleece. It looks like it has been treated a little differently than the other one. But we're going to make do with what we have. This is a fleece that has clearly been mulched. Now, when you get a fleece originally, you want to lay it out. So I'm just going to pretend this is an actual fleece that hasn't been dealt with a little bit. You want to lay it out. When you lay it out, it will look like a sheep. What you want to do, what I previously recorded doing, if you buying a fleece, there are two things you want to know about buying a fleece when you're buying a fleece from a person at a fiber event, over the internet, anything. One is, was it jacketed? This sheep, I believe, was a jacketed sheep. And clearly the person has already played with it. I just threw it in a bag, in an airlock bag, and put it in a seal tight because I knew it would take me a while. You can do that with fleeces because that's awesome. So, was it jacketed? If it's jacketed, you're going to have less vegetable matter. I believe this one was jacketed, so there's not a lot of poop going on. It's just kind of awesome that way. Next thing you want to know is, was it skirted? The skirting process happens after the shearing. When you skirt a fleece, when you're shearing a sheep and you skirt a fleece, basically you lay it out like this. We'll pretend this is in a sheep form, because it was before, but I've already dealt with it and I can't put it back to the way it was. So, lay it out. The legs the butt and a head, and sometimes the torso, where the milk glands are, become really coarse. They have hair. That's where you're going to find hair on a sheep. They have the most poo, the most vegetable matter. They're just the most disgusting parts. If it's a well-skirted fleece, you want to say thank you, first of all, and then you want to, that's a good fleece, good for you. If it's not well skirted, or if it's not skirted at all, that's something you want to factor into when you're buying it, because you're going to lose a bit of your fleece. The fleece itself needs to be skirted no matter what. If you do it, that's fine. If you don't do it, that's fine. But basically what's going to happen is, when the person who sheared it, or the person who owns the fleece, after it was sheared, lays it out on a table and goes around the edges and finds all the hair and picks it off before they weigh it and sell it. That's basically a good skirting. You don't pay for the skirted portion. If it's not skirted, you are paying for the skirted portion. And again, apologies for the bra and the boobs and the gut, and you know what? You have to wear second thing when you're processing a fleece, wear grungy clothes. Clothes you don't care that they're going to get covered in poo and like vegetable matter, and you're going to get lanolin. And after touching a fleece, don't touch your face. I have been doing that because I'm an idiot, but don't do it. You will break out. Do wash your face afterwards. I'm going to wash my face afterwards. I'll probably have a shower. I recommend showering after playing with fleece. I think this may have gone through a wash once already, this one actually. But basically, lay your fleece out. Check around the edges. Once you've laid it out, like, it'll unfold to look like a sheep. Lay it out. Go around the edges. If you see any hair, pull that. Have a chaff pile. A chaff pile is a necessity when processing a fleece, because you're going to have some crap you just aren't dealing with. Now, if the legs are really matty, basically, have a leggy part. Oh, this looks like a leggy part. Okay. Ugh. Yeah, this is still really kind of disgusting. So if you have a leggy part, you want to pull apart the top of the lock. If the lock does not pull apart easily, toss it. It's become felted. They will felt and mat, because guess what? Sheeps have lives. They run around, they play, they eat, they poo, they have babies, they have sex. They do what sheep do. Now, when you're doing that, of course, it's going to felt the tips. If the tips are felted, you can't do anything with it, so just suck it up, deal with it. Chuck it. Just chuck it. And you're going to have stuff that looks like this, where you have to like tease it up, whatever. 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 So now I'm going to bag this sheep up, because this isn't actually the sheep we're going to show you, but so you've skirted it. After you've skirted it and you've got it all laid out like a nice little sheep you would, just take chunks of it. Chunks. See, that's what this person did, is they separated out the fleece already for me. Basically rip off pieces. I take bigger pieces. I will show you some of the pieces as we're dealing with the Jacob. This, I believe, is a Romney Cordell. I'm not 100% sure anymore. I would have to look at my notes. Whatever. Putting it all back in the bag. Have baggies around. You're going to need a lot of baggies. And by baggies, I mean Ziploc. Or large, clear, hefty bags. Stuff like that. Whatever. You want something to store your fleece in. I put them in bags, and then I put them in airtight things, because it takes me forever to process a fleece. I'm not sure if you know this. Like, seriously. Sorry. I have the air conditioning going, so it's making me parched. It's 85 degrees out today. I am not used to this. I actually called home, and it's like miserable and rainy. So, there you have it. So, okay, so we have our thingy here. We have our thingy here. I have already taken this fleece apart. I have broken it down into sizable chunks. This one has not been processed or dealt with in any way, shape, or form. It was very well skirted. It's a Jacob. It's the Jacob I got at Shepherd's Harvest from Joxer's Jacobs. This is Baxter. He was $33. He's 3 pounds, 3 ounces. The number sign means pounds. Thanks to JetGirl1313 and Hales Knits of Haley of Hales Knits for telling me that. If you can't see, I've already got some chaff going on this. You can't see the specs, whatever. So I've ripped it, I have sectioned it off into manageable chunks. That's what I did. That's what I did with my fleeces. I put it into manageable chunks. Because, here's the thing. There are many different ways to process a fleece. You can process it all at once. When you have it laying out in sheep formation, you don't have to separate it up if you just want to keep going. If you have an episode, or no, well, not if you have an episode, if you have a season of Downton Abbey or the Gilmore Girls or something like that that you really want to watch, if you have a full Sunday or Saturday, you can separate out your fleece in about a day. Or if you have a small child that you want to pay to do it, you can also do that. Having said that, if you're like me and you have a life and you have many things to do, I wanted to dye again today, but after having my first round eaten, I'm not sure if I'm going to get to too much dyeing today. But, okay, here's a really large portion that I didn't separate out very well. So when you're separating out your fleece, I'm going to move you down one. So when you're separating out your fleece, this giant chunk of fleece right here, when you separate it out to deal with it, you just want to pull it apart gently in the base of the lock. You want the locks to separate. You don't want to have too much fluff. See? See how I've got that line there? That's what I wanted to do. That is exactly what I meant to do. And I'm separating them vis-a-vis color. So I have some fleece bits here. My goal here is to show you the next step. Here's some that was by the leg that I've determined I want to keep. It's not too felted. It's actually not felted. It's got a lot of gunk. Put the leg sections separately. You're going to want to process them separately from the outer layer of fleece. Once radio. So that was a 10-minute break. We're going to have 10-minute breaks. You can feel free to get a coffee whenever you want. So this was a really well skirted fleece. It was wonderfully prepared. I would recommend buying from them. I would buy from them again if I wanted one. I like Jacobs. Jacobs are really, you don't find them in a commercial yarn. You will only really find them in a spinning quality. There aren't a lot of them. They are a long and short breed. But now the fun begins. The fun begins. I've just taken out some of my fleece, which once looked like a sheep and does no longer look like a sheep. I pulled off some of the leg chaff. We're all good. Next thing, you're going to need about 1 billion of these. Do you know what these are? These are laundry bags. Now, I know you can buy them for super duper cheap from Highland Handmaids. You can go to your dollar store and buy like a 5-pack for $1. I don't care where you get them, but you're going to want these. There are several different ways of processing a fleece. You can throw them in your washing machine. I hate doing that. I hate it. I don't have enough control. I don't like it. I'm going to drum card it afterwards. I don't want it to felt. I don't want any agitation on it. I'm very neurotic. If you're very neurotic and you want a good fleece from start to finish, do it this way. It's easy. It's easier. There's a stovetop method you can use. Again, I don't like using the stovetop method because I'm me. This will be a 2-part series. The first part, which is the part I'm currently recording, will teach you how to get your fleece ready for washing, and then we will have a washing segment, but I need the honey to help me. So, you have your gorgeous little lingerie bags, or whatever you want to call it. I think they're called lingerie bags, or whatever. Doesn't really matter. We've got a beetle snoring. We've got a Petrie grooming back here. You can't see her, but she's right there. Bebop's over there. Frankie's over there. The pets really don't care at this point. If you have pet problems, do it in a room where you don't have to deal with pets. Now, to get it ready for cleaning. The easiest way I've found for cleaning, and here's the thing, you can throw it in these and throw it in your washing machine, wash, spin, whatever. If you want to do that, this is not the episode for you. You can do it on a stove. Again, not an episode for you. I believe Heather recently did a fleece processing bit on the end of her last podcast. If you want to learn how to process via stove, then that is the place to go. I'm going to be showing you how to do it in a sink, how to do it quick, how to do it easy, and how to get as much control out of your fleece with the least amount of felting. It all depends. Now I'm going to separate this out into the brown fleeces. So the brownie portions, the brownie gray portions, I'm going to be separating those from, of course, the white portions, because I'm going to dye the white. Now I am intending to dye this, which also means I want to have the control, because I want to be able to dye it really easy. I have gone through this. This one has a lot of disgusting on it. See? Lots of disgusting on it. This is not a jacketed sheep. I am fine with that. But your legs are going to, the leg portions, the stomach portions, they're going to have more gunk on them than the top portion. Keep that in mind when you're separating it out. You want to put like with like. And you may also want to keep the lock length the same, because it will grow not as fast. It will wear more on the legs. I want to keep the legs the same because they're the same length. And then I'm going to want to keep the back, which is the good, like that's the Cadillac of fleece is on the back. I want to keep that separate as well. So I'm going to be looking for those things while I'm processing my fleece. So we've talked about skirting. Always try to get a well skirted fleece, or keep in mind that you're going to lose weight when you skirt it. You're also going to lose weight during the washing process. So if you're looking for a pound, get 1.5 pounds. You're going to lose it. The lanolin is very heavy. I have a 3-pound 3-ounce, which I paid $33 for, which is insanely awesome. And Baxter clearly was a rockin' dude. But I'm probably going to end up with more like 2 and 8 ounces, or somewhere around that. Not 100% sure. And you know what? I'm probably not going to weigh it after, because I don't care. I know that I have 3 pounds 3 ounces, and I'm probably going to end up with really high 2 or really like just 3 spot on. So now we're going to get into the fun part, which, again, if you have small children, do it. And I apologize again. You've got some boobs, you've got some gut, you've got some arm fat going on. Suck it up. You've been watching me long enough to not give a crap. It's the last time I apologize for my body. And FYI, it's a rockin' body, so don't even try that. So now, what you need to do with your fleece is separate it. I'm going to separate it into lock formation, which is a process. Separating it into lock formation allows me to have the highest amount of control. It will ease my carding experience. When I'm dyeing, it will help me with dye control. It's just my preferred method of dyeing, of washing a fleece, because it makes it easier for dyeing, it makes it easier for everything. If it's an alpaca fleece, it's a whole other ball of wax. That stuff does not have lanolin. Alpaca do not have lanolin. They have dust, and they have dirt, and they have poop. Dust, dirt, and poop. That's all an alpaca is. So while we are going to have a very intensive washing experience with our sheep, with an alpaca, it's basically wash and wear. You can even spin it in the grease. It's really easy. So this is only fleece processing for wool. So back to our Jacob. I've got my lovely little, oh, there goes my card. My lovely little baggie. And what you're going to do is, I'm going to start with some white. Here's a chunk of white. I've separated it into chunks so that it's more manageable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start separating out locks. And while I'm separating out the locks, I can fluff, I can check for chaff. Any large vegetable matter will be pulled out. So I separated off this fluff. Put my bag over here. And I'm going to, actually no, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to separate out the locks, and I'm just going to lay them in a pile. So you want it, so I have my piece of fleece, I have my giant piece of fleece, and you can kind of make out where the locks are. So you just want to grab a piece of the lock, grab the other side of the lock, and pull. Separate out the lock. Give it a check. See, I've got some chaff here. Have a chaff pile. I'm going to make a chaff pile there. I already chucked my other chaff. Ooh, chaff chucking. Sounds fun. So I'm going to double check on this. There's not a lot of vegetable matter. I grabbed a piece that has equal length cuts, so that's good. If I have any neps, those little teeny things, I'm going to pull them out because I don't want the second cuts in my washing. And I'm going to take some more, and I'm just going to separate it off. If I find any pieces that are overly felted or just too poopy, if you have a too poopy piece, separate it, take it out, don't even deal with it. So I'm going to lay my locks. Now if you have kids and you can make them do this, that's kind of awesome. If I ever reproduce, I'm teaching my kids how to do this pretty much as soon as they can do anything. So just checking for fluff, just fluff it a little at the tip. See what I'm doing here? It's almost like, and you don't have to do this all the time, if you keep pulling the same lock and you notice that they're all the same, you're good. Just stack them. See? If you notice you do have like some really like compacted ends, then fluff them a little bit more just to make sure they aren't felted. You want to check for felting because, hey, what's the use in washing and felting, right? What's the use of washing it if it's already felted? If you have an afro comb, you know what I'm talking about, those wide picks, or a pick, or a flick carder, or even if you like have like a really thick hand carder, you can flick open the tips while you do this. If you intend to dye it, you will need to open up the tips because otherwise the color will concentrate there, although that may be the effect you're looking for. As you can see, I'm building a little pile of separated locks. It's really good to do if you're not wanting to spend a lot of time thinking and you just want to build your locks. Now there are some gray portions in here. You can't get around it because guess what? Jacobs are bicolor, so I have to know that. Now, if I see a lock that has been pulled down, I'm just going to align it so that it's in a good lock formation. Again, separating it out into lock formation actually eases the amount of crap you have to deal with. It also, you don't have to clean it as much. Like, you won't have to wash it as much. I am going to get me enough white that I need, and then we'll move into part 2. So, one more. Right, okay, so for the 3 minutes I've been gone, I've been picking apart some fleeces. Here's some second cuts. If you see these, just pull them out. They're neps. Some people like to leave them in. Occasionally I will if I'm spinning an art yarn or something. But in this case, I really just, I want to keep it because I want to make a sweater and I want to make the sweater look good. I'm not even going to lie to you. I want the sweater to be one of those, yes, I took this from the sheep. I am so hardcore that I picked it clean and then I washed it and I carded it and I washed it and I dyed it and I carded it, and isn't it glorious? That is what I want from the sheep. So knowing what you want from your sheep going in is pretty important. And I'm just going to see, and again, it starts getting a little warpy on some spots, depending on the fleece. It's always good to separate them out into sizes, so you have generally the same size in the same bag. Again, that's just a little bit of an OCD thing going on there. You don't have to. I prefer to. That's just how I roll. So, you're just pulling your fleeces apart, getting them all ready. Again, you're wearing your grungy clothes, so you don't care about the fact that you've got chaff and poo, and pretty much everything is going to fall down anyway. Which is why you have your lovely dollar store tablecloth. And there goes my stack. Oh well, oh well. Now the reason we're pulling these apart and fluffing them is we have to see which ones are the dirtiest, and we have to make sure that we are smart about this. Work smarter, not harder, right? Right. Okay. Just teasing me some locks. But I don't trust that little piece. I don't like it. Just here's me some locks. This is probably a stomach portion. It looks to have more gunk on it, which I don't really mind, but I need to make a note of that because the stomach stuff is going to be a little longer of a wash than the back stuff, which is also why I recommend keeping them in their right places. Okay, so now that I've separated out enough that I feel comfortable with our next step of the process, we're going to take our lingerie bag and we are going to stuff it. See, that's the dirty part. There's some dirt going on there because this is white. And here are some second cuts. Just pulling them off and putting them in my chaff pile. That's what chaff is for. You are going to get some chaff. So we've got our little lingerie bag, which will now be our fleece bag. If you want to pack, if you want to get like, you're probably going to need about 5 of these per pound. So if you have 3 pounds, get 10. They're cheap. You can find them cheap. Just go with the cheap ones. You don't need them to be hardcore or heavy duty. I've got a bunch kicking around, you know, whatever. However, once you do use them for fleece, don't use them for your bras. That's just kind of icky. So we're going to take our locks and we're going to make a layer. A layer upon the bottom. Just a line. We want a line. We want a hard line of fleece across the bottom, which is also why you want to keep your locks. So I'm making one layer across the bottom. That is what I'm doing right this second. I'm just taking my locks, and you don't have to be hardcore about your locks. See, the big piece of locks, whatever. You don't have to be that hardcore. It's not like you have to pick an inch by inch centimeter of lock, and then you have to like fluff it, and then you have to, no. Just grab off bits of lock, make sure you have approximately the same length, and you're good. So we're making a straight line across the bottom. Straight line in lock formation across the bottom. See? See my straight line? You'll want to do about two bits deep. So when I'm saying 2 bits, I mean, so here's your stack of lock. You'll want to make sure you have 2 stacked on top of each other, like so, in a row. So you're going to make your row across the bottom. Make your row across the bottom. Making your row, making your row. That's what you do. You make a row. It's like making a roux, but with a row. You want to put the dirtiest pieces with other dirtiest pieces. You want to put the not so dirtiest pieces with the other not so dirtiest pieces. Separate them into your laundry bags accordingly. So I have my first row. It's 2 deep. Now I'm going to start putting in a second row. Again, I'm going to do it 2 deep. In this laundry bag, I can get about 3 rows at the length of this particular fleece. This fleece is 5 or 6 inches in this part. It varies between 3 inches to 6 inches in the fleece. So these are all the 5 to 6 inch portions, and they are all pretty much not that bad as far as dirty. So I'm just gonna make my little laundry bag up for them. So, and you can go 3 deep if the fleece isn't too dirty. If it's really dirty, go 2 deep. If it's not so dirty, go 3 or 4. 3 I cap out at because I don't want to have to wash it so many times. 3 is a good cap. So I have done my second row, and now I'm going to put in my third row. And when I'm putting in my third row, I'm probably going to zip myself closed as I go along because I want to be able to control the fleece on the inside and outside of the bag. You want to pack your bag nicely, like you're packing a pillow or you're stuffing a toy, and this makes it easier for washing, for rinsing, for drying. It just makes life easier. Trust me on this. This is my 4th fleece. See, this is a really poopy piece. It's got a lot of going on it. See, there we go. So I'm going to set that one aside because it's a lot dirtier than what I got going on in here. And because I'm trying to separate it color-wise, I'm also not putting in any brown because this is clearly a very white portion. So, stuff in my fleece. End to end, top to top, bottom to bottom. You know the drill. You know the drill. Align your fibers. Okay, and then zip your bag closed. You will have a bag that looks like this. Like a little pillow. This bag is ready to wash, which will be part 2. So basically, what I want you to do when you're processing a fleece, well, what you want to do if you're following my thing, you're laying out your fleece, you're checking the skirting. If you're not going to be processing the whole fleece, like if you're not going to rip it apart into these manageable chunks, see these manageable chunks? See, I can throw all my manageable chunks back in my bag, put it in its airtight container, and walk away for the day after having done that one. Now, if you're going to do it all in once, you're going to put them all in bags in one go, which is about an afternoon's worth of work. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's about a season of Gilmore Girls. A little bit more. No, not a full season. Maybe a couple discs. But you know what I mean. Like, it's a good day's worth of work. So, if you want to do that all in one fell swoop, you can. You don't have to separate out your big fleece. If you don't want to do that right away, if you then separate your fleece into manageable chunks while you have it laid out. Try and keep them in a similar area. Like, I separated my colors. I separated these staple lengths when I put it into its giant bag. And basically, I'm just going to fill multiple ones of these until all my fleece is full. Now, if you only have 5 or 6 of these, and you know you have more lock, you can just separate out the locks and put them into their own container. Sterilite or airtight or hefty bag or whatever. You can layer them back into their bag in lock, and then just wash those. When they're done, you pull them out, you put in a new set of locks, and you keep going. I will show you that during the washing portion. What I am now going to do with my own personal fleece is continue to pull it out and put it in lock formation, and then I am going to get ready for washing. For washing, I will be recording a secondary segment which will not take place in my gorgeous half living room. It will be in the kitchen. And I will need my partner in crime to help me because I cannot do the washing and everything while manning the camera. Or the fact that it seems to overheat. Little bugger. The first part was so much better. But you still get the gist, right? Gist is what we want here. So you're ripping apart your fleece, you're putting it into your laundry bags. You're getting your laundry bags ready. I will be recording the second portion probably closer to the end of the month if I have time. If not, right as soon as I get back from SSK. Either way, get your bags ready like that. For your washing, you will need Dawn liquid detergent. If you're cheap. I'm cheap. I'll be using Dawn. Unicorn does a power scour. I believe Kookaburra does a power scour. So you can use the power scours or you can use Dawn. It doesn't really matter to me what you use. You'll probably want a pot, a kettle. You will want some sort of, I use a colander. Get a cheap-ass colander for that portion. And some, one of those plastic dollar store drying, you put your dishes on to dry. Get one of them too. And we will meet up again and we will wash our fleece. But right now, I have some fleece to separate and you don't need to watch me do that. So, well skirted, whether or not it's jacketed, and remember you're going to lose weight, so go a little higher if you do want a lot of weight. You can buy half fleeces. Half fleeces are very common, half and quarter. For the bigger sheeps who produce a lot, you may want to go with a half. A half is usually 4 pounds. It's 3 to 4 pounds. So a half, this is a smaller Jacob. Jacobs are usually a low yield. You don't get as much off of them as you do, say, the big guys. But having said that, I really hope I haven't been showing you my bra the whole time. Oh well. Having said that, half fleeces are good. Remember, you want them well skirted. I can't stress that enough. But I am going to go. I have some more bags I'm going to fill up. I'm probably going to finish lock forming into bags, a few more bags, so that we can do the washing. And I will see you then. I hope you have enjoyed episode 1 of the specialty How to Process Your Fleece.